On March 11th, 2026, something happened in Brussels that most people outside of Africa barely noticed. 524 members of the European Parliament gathered and voted on a resolution. Out of all the problems facing Europe right now, rising energy costs, unemployment, immigration, these lawmakers chose to spend their time deciding who should be running a country in West Africa. That country is Niger, and the man they want put back in charge is Mohamed Bazoum, the president who was removed from power back in July 2023. The resolution was not a suggestion, it was a demand. Release Bazoum immediately, hand power back to him, restore the old order. And to anyone paying attention to what is actually happening on the ground in Africa, the move was breathtaking in its arrogance. More than 60 years after African nations gained independence from European colonial rulers, a room full of European politicians was sitting in Belgium telling an African country who should govern it. But this time, Niger did not stay quiet. Within hours of the vote, Niger's government summoned the European Union's representative in the country and handed over an official protest letter. The language used was not polite or diplomatic. Niger's foreign ministry called it interference. They described Europe's attitude as paternalistic and condescending. And then they said something that needs to be repeated clearly. Niger will not accept directives from anyone, not from France, not from Europe, not from any foreign power. We decide who governs us. To understand why Europe is this invested in Niger's internal politics, you have to follow the money. Specifically, you have to follow the uranium. For decades, Niger has been one of the most important suppliers of uranium in the world. This uranium powered French nuclear reactors. It helped light up cities across France and contributed to roughly a quarter of the entire European Union's uranium supply. France ran 56 nuclear reactors, and Niger was feeding them. France became nearly 70% energy independent on the back of this arrangement. Now here is the part that should make anyone angry. While Niger's uranium was powering French hospitals, schools, and businesses, 85% of people living in Niger had no electricity at home. The country producing the resource that kept European cities glowing was itself sitting in darkness. Between 1971 and 2024, a French state-owned company operated mines in Niger for 53 years straight. According to Niger's own government, France walked away with 86% of the uranium produced. And when one of the mining companies finally shut down operations in 2021, they left behind 20 million tons of radioactive waste that now contaminates water sources and poisons communities. France took the uranium, used it for decades, and left Niger with the toxic mess. Mohamed Bazoum was the man who protected this arrangement. While he was in power, French troops remained stationed on Nigerian soil. The mining contract stayed in place. Niger continued acting as Europe's border guard, enforcing migration laws that the European Union had designed and paid for, criminalizing the movement of people across a region where migration had been a normal part of life for centuries. Bazoum was, in the words of the French politician who led the push for his release, Europe's main partner in the Sahel. That phrase tells you everything you need to know. When General Abdurrahmane Chiani removed Bazoum in July 2023, something unexpected happened. Nigerians did not protest, they celebrated. Tens of thousands of people poured into the streets with flags, cheering. Because to them, the removal of Bazoum was not a tragedy. It was a moment of liberation. They had watched their neighbors in Mali and Burkina Faso kick out French troops and assert their independence. And they had asked themselves why Niger should be any different. Europe's reaction was immediate and aggressive. France initially refused to pull its troops out even after the new government ordered them to leave. A regional body called ECOWAS, heavily influenced by France, threatened military intervention to restore Bazoum by force. For a moment, it looked like West Africa might go to war, but that war never happened. Partly because Mali and Burkina Faso made it clear that any attack on Niger would be treated as an attack on them too. And partly because even governments aligned with Europe knew their own citizens would never support a war fought to reinstall a French-backed leader. By December 2023, French troops were gone. In June 2025, Niger went further and nationalized the uranium mines, seizing the French company's stake and taking full operational control. The government accused the company of illegal and irresponsible behavior and made clear that all uranium produced from that point forward belongs to Niger alone. That is what real sovereignty looks like. And that is exactly why Europe is furious. Notice what the European Parliament's resolution never mentions. It talks about democracy. It talks about human rights. It talks about Bazoum's detention conditions, but it never once mentions uranium. It never mentions the mining contracts. It never mentions the radioactive waste left behind in Nigerian communities. The man leading the push for this resolution is a retired French general who, in his own speech, described Bazoum as a key partner for European forces. He is not fighting for democracy. He is fighting to recover access to something France lost. Since breaking free from French influence, Niger and its neighbors Mali and Burkina Faso have been building something new together. They formed a group called the Alliance of Sahel States, and in just 18 months, they have moved faster than ECOWAS managed in 50 years. They launched their own passports, independent of European oversight. They created a joint military force of 5,000 soldiers from all three countries fighting terrorism together, without foreign troops giving the orders. They set up their own development bank to fund roads and infrastructure without the conditions that Western lenders always attach to their loans. They launched their own television network to tell their own stories instead of relying on French media that consistently portrayed them as criminals and dictators. And they are working toward their own currency, breaking away from the CFA franc that has been controlled by France's treasury since the colonial era. Niger also repealed a law that the European Union had pushed them to implement, a law that criminalized the movement of people across Niger's borders. That law had destroyed livelihoods in communities where helping travelers cross the Sahara had been a way of life for generations. Europe called it anti-smuggling. Niger called it what it was: a foreign government using aid money to turn Niger into a wall between Africa and Europe. When that law was repealed, traditional economic activity resumed. That is what it looks like when a country makes laws for its own people rather than for foreign governments. The populations of these countries have responded with genuine support. When Niger left ECOWAS, people celebrated in the streets. When they launched their own passports, crowds cheered. When French troops were expelled, Nigerians waved flags. This is not a population suffering under military rule and quietly waiting to be rescued by European parliamentarians. These are people who feel, for the first time in their lives, that their government is actually working for them. What the European Parliament vote really represents is not concern for one detained politician. It is a test of whether Africa has truly broken free from the old system where European powers decided what happened on African soil. In 1960, European colonial administrators appointed African leaders directly. In 2026, European parliamentarians passed resolutions demanding specific African leaders be freed and restored to power. The paperwork has changed, the mindset has not. Every African country watching this situation is learning the same lesson. Europe will call you a valued partner and a beacon of democracy for as long as you serve European interests. The moment you assert control over your own resources, expel foreign troops, and make decisions based on what your people actually need, Europe will call you a dictator and pass resolutions demanding your removal. The label they put on you has nothing to do with how you govern. It has everything to do with whether you are useful to them. Niger's response to the European Parliament was not just a message to Brussels, it was a message to every African government still operating under the shadow of foreign influence. Sovereignty is not something you ask for. It is something you take, protect, and defend. And Niger has made clear they are not asking for permission from anyone.